Chapter 1001. Don't underestimate your opponent. Seeing Tang Roo's expression, Yi Shu made sure to give her a reminder. He had to say something that stunned everyone who heard him. Hey, don't underestimate your opponent. Yi Shu ran out of his seat and called out to Tang Roo. Underestimate your opponent? Xiao Shiken was heading to the player booths and almost tripped when he heard these words. What was that? It sounded very unfamiliar. How long had it been since he heard someone utter those words? Xiao Shiken steadied himself. He couldn't help but turn around and look. After all, he didn't really have a good understanding of Tang Roo's personality. From her performance on stage, Xiao Shiken couldn't see any reason for Tang Roo to underestimate him. Could it be that after a year away from the alliance, he had already been ignored to such an extent? Don't underestimate your enemy. Xiao Shiken stared blankly for a long while until he saw Tang Roo reach her player booth. Only then did he continue walking. When he got into his player booth, he had adjusted his mentality. He was an all-star player, who had seen all sorts of storms and waves after all. Something like that wouldn't drive him to his wits' end. However, he didn't lose his vigilance. He had a good grasp of Tang Roo's skill level from her match recordings, but perhaps she was hiding her strength? Or perhaps she had a mysterious trick up her sleeve that she had prepared specifically for him? Xiao Shiken carefully pondered over every possibility. It was this mentality that allowed him to become a master tactician, who cared deeply about the small things. Yi Shu warned Tang Roo not to be careless, but it resulted in Xiao Shiken putting up his guard. The match began. The map was Dockside Town. When the offline tournament kicked off, the maps chosen for the finals had been announced beforehand. A team like Excellent Era would certainly research these maps thoroughly. They had no doubts that they'd reach the finals. As for Happy, just in the match against Jade Dynasty, Chao Yifan had fully utilized the map to his advantage. Just from this alone, it could be seen that Happy didn't dare to be negligent in studying the maps for every match. Thus, their focus naturally wasn't as concentrated as Excellent Era's. Even though the map was new, Excellent Era's understanding of it was most likely deeper than Happy's. The esports home issue released on this day had mentioned this point in the pre-match analysis. In addition to this, throughout the broadcast, the commentator hastily did some analysis during the map loading screen. The Challenger League Finals was a very important match. Even the broadcasting side wouldn't slack off. The previous broadcasts were all commentated solo, but for this match, the golden casting duo of the Glory League, Pan Lin and Lin Yibo, were both assigned. After Pan Lin quickly introduced the advantages and disadvantages each side had for this map, Li Yibo lost no time and commented on how the map could be utilized. This Dockside Town carries the tradition of maps chosen by the Alliance. The style is all around. Fighting in the water, streets, indoors, and so on can all be taken advantage of on this map. But then again, I feel like calling this map Alley Town would be more appropriate, Li Yibo commented. Haha, Coach Li, you're right. This map really should be called Alley Town. Okay, everyone can see that the two characters have loaded in. The one on the upper left corner of the map is Team Happy's Tang Roo. Her character is Soft Mist. The one in the lower right corner is Team Excellent Era's Xiao Shiken. His character is Life Extinguisher, a character we are all very familiar with. He's left our site for almost a year now. Now that he's appeared again, I'm sure many of our viewer friends are feeling reminiscent. Quote, the commentator Pan Lin said. The difference between him and the other players on Excellent Era is that Xiao Shiken transferred into Excellent Era after Excellent Era was relegated last season. From this point, we can see his determination and foresight, Li Yibo said. Yeah, he obviously didn't join Excellent Era to play in the Challenger League. What he's looking at is Excellent Era's future next year, the commentator Pan Lin said. At this point, it should be the next half of this year, Li Yibo said. But he still has to help Excellent Era win this match first. Right now, the two characters have started moving. Tang Roo's Soft Mist is going straight towards the center, while Xiao Shiken is moving more strategically, Pan Lin said. That's his usual style, Li Yibo said with understanding. Yes, I don't think there's a need to say too much about Xiao Shiken. Then, let's talk about Team Happy's Tang Roo. What are your thoughts, Coach Li? Pan Lin said. I've been paying attention to this player recently. Her skill is quite good. From what I've heard, there are numerous teams that are interested in her. Her future prospects are boundless, Li Yibo said. Okay, Tang Roo's soft mist has already reached the center of the map, but there are no signs of her opponent. It seems like she's already realized that her opponent is moving more strategically. She's now having her soft mist move around, Pan Lin continued to speak as he watched the match. As a master tactician, Xiao Shikin's playstyle is not limited to only one style. His style is dynamic. For a rookie like Tang Roo, who hasn't played Glory for very long, this could be quite fatal, Li Yibo added in a comment. From his omniscient view, he could see that Xiao Shikin had already located soft mist and was currently circling around her. It looks like our previous analysis was correct. Excellent Era has a deeper understanding of this map. It seems like they've focused their research towards the finals early on. After seeing the path that Xiao Shikin took, Li Yibo sighed with sorrow. On the other hand, Happy's player appears to be a bit lost. A rookie's ability to grasp an unfamiliar map can't compare to a veteran's. Good. Right now, Xiao Shikin's life extinguisher has already successfully circled around to soft mist's side. Tang Roo still hasn't noticed and is still moving forward. The terrain up ahead is very wide. Is she trying to letting the opponent find her? Pan Lin said. If this terrain is used properly, she might be harassed to death by the mechanic. Li Yibo predicted how things would develop. Then what will Xiao Shikin do? Life extinguisher is quietly following behind her. Is he going to play dirty? Life extinguisher hit a bouncing mine. It looks like he will be playing dirty. Mechanical seeker has been sent out. And then, airdrop. Life extinguisher summoned an airdrop. He's going on the offensive, Pan Lin said. The two things nicknamed rising wind or melons flew above soft mist's head. Their stomachs opened and bombs rained down. Soft mist rolled on the ground. After getting up, she dashed forward. The two rising wind or melons chased after her. The bombardment of bombs practically landed at her feet. A huge scene exploded behind her. Fire and earth flew everywhere. The airdrop was thrown behind her and kept on dropping bombs until the skill's duration ended. The instant the place quieted down, Tang Roo heard a caca sound. She looked down. A little mechanical seeker had run up to her feet. Soft mist hastily jumped up and her spear leapt at the small robot, creating a huge explosion. Tang Roo's reaction speed is very fast, but it's not over yet. Pan Lin wasn't able to finish his words when he saw the airborne soft mist suddenly move towards the side. She dodged it, Pan Lin cried out in astonishment. From his omniscient view, he obviously saw it very clearly. After the airdrop and mechanical seeker, Xiao Shikin had thrown out an air compressor. This gadget used air pressure to attack the target. When it was initiated, it didn't release any light effects. The only clear warning was a bang, similar to when a champagne bottle was opened. The mechanical seeker's explosion covered up that sound, yet even in this situation, soft mist was able to evade it. How did she find out? How did she move in midair? Pan Lin continued to be surprised. Usually, Coach Li Yibo would explain. Inviting him over as the guest was for him to interpret these complex interactions. This time, when Pan Lin cried out, the person to his side was also quiet. He turned to look and saw that Li Yibo was also furrowing his brow in astonishment. It seemed like he didn't know either. The commentator didn't have to see through it and talk because these complicated situations were for the specialist to interpret. Li Yibo was their specialist in this case. If he couldn't see through it, it would be a bit embarrassing. Pan Lin had already thrown the question out though. Even if Li Yibo couldn't answer it, he still had to give some sort of answer. He had the broadcast replay that scene for him. He carefully studied it, while the battle continued. Soft mist landed on the ground and headed towards the air compressor. Life extinguisher's whereabouts had been exposed. He turned around and ran. Soft mist chased after him, her foot landed on the bouncing mine that Xiao Shikin had buried earlier. The bouncing mine exploded. Soft mist rolled, negating the knockback from the explosion. Soft mist got up and continued to chase after life extinguisher, ignoring the scraps from the bouncing mine flying at her. The broadcast seized the moment to play a quick cut of when soft mist leapt to avoid the mechanical seeker and her dodged the air compressor. The camera focused, zooming in on the instant soft mist spear hit the mechanical seeker. Then, the replay went into slow-mo. Everyone saw it clearly. After the mechanical seeker blew up, the spear that should have been retracted suddenly moved sideways and stabbed into the ground. Soft mist used this as leverage to quickly move through the air, allowing her to avoid that air compressor. In this instant, it wasn't possible for Tang Roo to have seen that air compressor, so there's only one possibility. When the mechanical seeker exploded, she heard the sound of the air compressor starting up, Li Yibo explained. Is that possible? Pan Lin asked. Very experienced players might be able to differentiate between the sounds, Li Yibo said. But Tang Roo is only a rookie, Pan Lin exclaimed. It looks like this rookie has extraordinary talent, Li Yibo could only explain, but this explanation was actually correct. Tang Roo really did have incredible hearing. Chapter 1002. Night Blooming Serious. The battle was still ongoing. After taking the chance to broadcast a slow-motion replay, the camera quickly returned to the match. Pan Lin and Li Yibo hastily turned their attention to the match after analyzing that quick exchange. Against the damage from the bouncing mine's fragments, Soft Mist chased after Life Extinguisher's disappearing figure as the latter turned the corner. For Tang Roo, what was around that corner was unknown, but the audience had an omniscient viewpoint and could clearly see what was lying in wait. When Xiao Shikin's Life Extinguisher turned the corner, he immediately threw down an electromagnetic coil. Electromagnetic coil wasn't a trap which only triggered when stepped on. The effects of this skill was similar to a Ghostblade's Ghost Boundary, having an area of effect. It was just that compared to the flashy effects that a Ghost Boundary unleashed, the electromagnetic coil's power was much more discreet. The clueless Tang Roo only cared about catching up as soon as possible with Soft Mist, eliciting a round of discussion from the spectating Pan Lin and Li Yibo. Tang Roo seems a little too hasty. If she pursues him like this, then won't she just fall straight into Xiao Shikin's trap? Pan Lin said. Yeah, any experienced player probably wouldn't engage a mechanic with this sort of complex terrain. Mechanics have all sorts of strange gadgets, which are easily concealed in this sort of environment. Xiao Shikin has very successfully led Tang Roo into an area where he can utilize his advantages to the maximum, Li Yibo said. Tang Roo has already reached the corner. As the match developed, Pan Lin's speech quickened as well. Xiao Shikin's Life Extinguisher is actually waiting right around the corner, definitely waiting for Tang Roo to step into electromagnetic coil's range to attack. However, with his current point of view, it's not possible for him to track Tang Roo's movements, so how will Xiao Shikin know when to attack? She's in, Pan Lin yelled. And in the data shown on the broadcast, one of the numbers immediately skyrocketed, Tang Roo's weight. Xiao Shikin's Life Extinguisher struck at practically the same time. How did he do it? Pan Lin yelled. Probably by the sound of her footsteps. This question wasn't hard for Li Yibo to answer. Many pro players were able to use the sound of another's footsteps to judge the distance between them. Rocket punch. A rocket punch flew out. Under the effects of the increased weight, Soft Mist's movements are slower, making it harder for her to dodge. She's. Dragon breaks the ranks. Tang Roo resolutely activated Dragon Breaks the Ranks as soon as Soft Mist stepped into the electromagnetic coil's range. She didn't even bother to dodge the rocket punch sent out by Life Extinguisher. Soft Mist charged at Life Extinguisher with her spear raised to cast Dragon Breaks the Ranks. Because of the effects of the electromagnetic coil, Dragon Breaks the Ranks didn't have the usual amount of overwhelming speed, but they were at such close range already. How many steps did it take to turn a corner, after all? Dragon Breaks the Ranks might be slower than normal, but it still arrived at Life Extinguisher's side in the blink of an eye. The rocket punch did hit Soft Mist, but Dragon Breaks the Ranks had a higher priority than many grabs. Rocket punch's impact couldn't do anything to stop its momentum. Xiao Shikin couldn't continue his offense, hurriedly making Life Extinguisher dodge, avoiding the Dragon Breaks the Ranks. As for Soft Mist, she had used the charge to force herself out of the range of the electromagnetic coil through pure brute force. Without hesitation, she followed up by stabbing a dragon tooth at Life Extinguisher. Life Extinguisher rolled to avoid it, and quickly opened up his rotor wings upon getting back to his feet. With a single rise and fall, he flew over the wall. During his descent, he even turned around to toss a grenade back. Who would have expected that? With just this glance, Xiao Shikin got a glimpse of Soft Mist's right elbow twisting back, her spear dragging along, as a magical pulse began to swirl over the spear and shoot towards the tip. The grenade landed and the spear stabbed forth, the magical pulse turning into a massive dragon. All that was blocking its way was a wall, so it smashed right through. With an immense boom, the fierce rising dragon soars the sky tore through the wall. The skill ended there, but Soft Mist had already charged through the hole in the wall, the spear in her hand pointed at Life Extinguisher. Wasting a powerful move just to break a wall? And before, preferring to use a dragon breaks the ranks to push through the electromagnetic field instead of just stepping back a bit? Xiao Shikin's Life Extinguisher had activated an accelerator to hurry the hell out of there because the situation had spiraled out of his control a little. Tang Roo's extremely straightforward way of dealing with things had destroyed his rhythm completely. As for Pan Lin and Li Yibo, they weren't able to say a single word about Tang Roo's choice of action. It was only until this cat and mouse situation that didn't have much to it that they realized that they had to continue commentating. This Tang Roo, Pan Lin tried to formulate a response. It's crude, Li Yibo then said with confidence, but she managed to succeed. Now Xiao Shikin needs to adjust his rhythm. I trust that what happened just now will make him rethink his judgment of his current opponent. The way to deal with this participant, Tang Roo, how would you put this? It's not something on a technical level. Xiao Shikin needs to get a better understanding of his opponent, Pan Lin said. Yes, Li Yibo nodded continuously from beside him. Taking such a choice of action in this situation requires extreme courage, and Xiao Shikin wasn't completely prepared for that. However, the match has only just begun, let's wait and see what happens next. Life Extinguisher's accelerator has ended, but Life Extinguisher managed to gain a safe distance, using the speed advantage given by the skill. Soft Mist hasn't had much of a chance to use any of her chasers, so she has no buffs at the moment. I believe that Xiao Shikin won't give her the opportunity in the future either, Pan Lin said. Yes, after seeing the headstrong attitude of participant Tang Roo, I feel that Xiao Shikin will avoid facing Tang Roo head-on, continuing to use a more strategic playstyle, Li Yibo said. Yes, now he's beginning to move strategically again. Let's see what sorts of arrangements Xiao Shikin has in mind this time, Pan Lin said. Off stage, at Happy's bench, Chen Guo had thought that Tang Roo had this match in the bag. If it were any of their previous opponents, they probably would have been hunted down and crushed in shock by that relentless offense. Yet this match, Tang Roo's opponent was truly worthy of his identity as a top pro player. He didn't panic at all when Tang Roo destroyed his tactical rhythm, decisively retreating and bringing the match back to how it had been in the beginning with ease. He was still running and Tang Roo was still chasing, but in this game of cat and mouse, the initiative had switched hands twice already. At first, Xiao Shikin was guiding the match, the initiative in his hands, then when Tang Roo mucked up his rhythm with pure brute force, she had snatched the initiative from him. Now, somehow, the initiative was back in Xiao Shikin's hands. The two characters darted about the dockside town, Xiao Shikin using his gadgets in a continuous offense that Tang Roo found impossible to guard against. In comparison, she didn't seem to be able to do much of anything. She didn't manage to snatch a single chance to close in on her opponent like before. Who had the advantage was obvious, you could even say that Tang Roo was in the palm of Xiao Shikin's hand. What should we do? Chen Guo, watching off stage, was getting extremely anxious. However, from her point of view, it seemed to be futile. Xiao Shikin's playstyle seemed impossible to beat and she couldn't think of any way that Tang Roo could turn this around. Beside her, Happy's members were all very solemn, obviously not able to see a way out of this situation either. However, Tang Roo was someone who liked to create miracles. Accomplishing the impossible was her hobby. That's why everyone still held a thread of hope in their hearts, hoping that she would create another miracle to surprise everyone. Yet, it never came. The pace never experienced another change throughout the battle and, bit by bit, Soft Mist's health was chipped away until she fell. Chen Guo couldn't believe her eyes. It wasn't like she had thought it was impossible for Tang Roo to lose. She just didn't think it was possible for a match with Tang Roo in it to be like this. If you used a single word to describe it, then there was no more suitable word than depressing. The pleasant surprise that had erupted at the beginning didn't change the mood of the match at all. Chen Guo watched as Tang Roo walked out from the player booth and off stage towards Happy's bench. Booze accompanied her all the way over and Excellent Era's fans didn't show any sort of mercy for a beautiful lady like Tang Roo. When Happy first appeared, Soft Mist was the core reason for the defeat of the face-slapping challengers. For these people, their hatred of Tang Roo was only second to Yi Shu. Seeing Tang Roo lose in such a helpless way, the stadium was filled with cheer and Excellent Era's fans were reveling in her misfortune. This is only the beginning. Who's next? Now that's what disparity means. Excellent Era fans yelled aggressively, putting all their effort into making a ruckus, especially those in the section of the audience closest to Happy, doing their utmost to boo Happy. Excellent Era's win in the first round had lit a flame in these repressed fans' hearts. All this time, they had been waiting for Happy to be humiliated, yet that had come back to slap them in the face repeatedly. Now, their team had personally come to punish Happy. How could they not be excited? And when Yi and Luo Ji both looked around in surprise, obviously not prepared for this sort of situation. Never mind those two, even Wei Chen looked a little pale. Back when he was in the Pro League, it wasn't nearly as impressive. The Challenger League didn't have any away or home game differences, but with the influence they had as a powerhouse, Excellent Era managed to turn Liulisang Sports Arena into something like their home turf. It's so bloody loud. How come it feels like we're in Excellent Dynasty Convention Center? In the audience, a person seemed to be very annoyed by the cheering of the Excellent Era fans beside him, complaining as he pulled his hat lower. The so-called Excellent Dynasty Convention Center was the stadium that Excellent Era played in for their home games. This person didn't seem to be a stranger to this sort of cheer. There's nothing we can do about it. Happy is losing rather terrifically, after all, another person said before tilting his head to the side. What are you thinking, little Gao? Ah, probably. The one who was referred to as Little Gao also had his hat on very low, just like the rest of his companions, gazing at the familiar figure on Happy's bench. Don't give in, Yifan. Chapter 1003. Glory really is hard. The three hiding in the audience carefully spectating the match were three members of Team Tiny Herb, Xu Bin, Lu Xiaobi, and Gao Yingji. Although Liulisang Sports Arena wasn't Tiny Herb's home stadium, City B was Team Tiny Herb's turf. Hearing so many people cheering with such excitement for another team on their own turf made Lu Xiaobi, who was born and raised in City B, feel extremely uncomfortable. Happy didn't take out too much of their opponent's health. The next few rounds will be rather hard on them. Xu Bin was the one whose focus was constantly on the match. After all, he had only transferred to Team Tiny Herb for a year now and he wasn't a local either, so in regards to emotions, he wasn't as involved as Lu Xiaobi. Yeah, I would never have expected. Lu Xiaobi turned his attention back to the match, also expressing his surprise. Who in the pro circle had gotten to know Soft Mist earlier than them? Back then, it was still when the 10th server had just opened and everyone had been playing on level 20-something Smurfs when they had first met this young lady. The Soft Mist was a complete newbie back then, and now? In under a year. It was because of this sort of history that Tiny Herb's players didn't dare to underestimate her. In reality, if Tang Roo wasn't an irregularity among Glory players, she would probably be Lu Xiaobi and Ko's teammate by now. Which Glory player would reject an invitation from a champion team like Tiny Herb? Who do you think will go next for Happy? Xu Bin wondered. They weren't unfamiliar with Happy's players at all. In the previous battle for the newer bosses, the pro players had rotated in teams to fight off Happy's players, and gotten to understand them. One should remember, if two teams didn't enter the playoffs, they only crossed swords twice a year. Against Happy, they probably fought once a week during the battle for bosses. Yifan probably won't appear in the group arena, right? Lu Xiaobi said after glancing at Gao Yingji. He knew that these two young men were special to each other, and knew that the reason Gao Yingji had decided to come today was to support Qiao Yifan. With the current situation in Happy, they just might have him play, Xu Bin said. When he joined, Qiao Yifan had already left the team, so they didn't have much interaction. However, after Happy rose to infamy, this name was often mentioned in Team Tiny Herb and Xu Bin knew who he was now. It's not Qiao Yifan. It was then that Gao Yingji shook his head, because he had already seen that the member of Happy that stood up to go on stage wasn't Qiao Yifan. Mo Fan after his match against Mysterious Fantasy, this was the second official match of his since coming to Happy. How is it? How do you feel in this sort of competitive atmosphere? Yi Shu looked at Mo Fan, who stood up in preparation to go on stage. Mo Fan originally planned to ignore everyone and head off to the player booth. Upon hearing Yi Shu's words, he hesitated, but still stopped. He didn't even turn his head, just standing there and thinking for a good while before replying, noisy. After that, he walked towards the booth. By then, Tang Roo had returned from the booth and when they brushed past each other, they didn't interact much. Tang Roo said, "Good luck," and Mo Fan simply nodded in response. Tang Roo, having returned to the bench, wore an expression of disappointment. Chen Guo hesitated and didn't manage to say any words of comfort in the end. This match's situation really was rather ugly. Considering Xiao Shiqin's life extinguisher's remaining life, Tang Roo had been crushed. It didn't even count as a morale victory, which made things very hard for Chen Guo. How do you feel? She heard Yi Shu ask directly and simply as she hesitated. Disappointed, Tang Roo replied. Hey, don't worry about it. No one in the entire pro circle would dare say for certain that they can win against a player of Xiao Shiqin's caliber. You win some, you lose some, Yi Shu said. I know that, Tang Roo nodded. She wasn't naive enough to believe that there really was such a thing as being invincible. Walking next to the river, whose shoes wouldn't get wet? That was the way competition was. But I was helpless against him, Tang Roo said. This was the point she was truly disappointed about. Throughout the entire match, she couldn't grasp any sort of advantage, being led around by the nose. This sort of helplessness was a terrible feeling. If this was something that could be solved with just a few words, then I would have told you them before you even went up. The person you were up against is one of the best in glory. If he had any fatal flaws that just anyone could exploit, then he wouldn't be where he is now. Work on improving yourself, in all aspects. There'll be no more shortcuts from here, Yi Shu said. Tang Roo gazed at the replay shown by the projector of the match just now. However, there really wasn't anything to see in the last match. The opportunity Tang Roo had created for herself at the beginning of the match might count as interesting, but considering the results of the match, it was much less impactful. Glory really is hard, Tang Roo sighed, gazing at the powerful yet helpless figure of Soft Mist. That's precisely why it's fun, no? Yi Shu asked. Yeah, Tang Roo nodded, her gaze already turning to watch the second match that was about to start. Her defeat had been devastating, but it would also provoke her determination to pursue this. She was already focused on the next match, ready to learn what she could from it. As the hologram was projected, the second match officially began. The map wouldn't change in the group arena, but the spawn point would change randomly, but would usually stay in opposing corners. Deception, huh? Xiao Shiqin gazed at the second player on Happy's side. Since this was only his second official match, the amount of info they had on Mo Fan was pitiful. However, just that one match had fully displayed Mo Fan's style. Xiao Shiqin had studied that match in depth, but he still didn't dare to let his guard down. The last match was against Tang Roo, an opponent that appeared so often that there was a surplus of data for him to research. From Xiao Shiqin's view, Tang Roo's playstyle didn't have any strategic element to it. It used a simple and crude method to destroy an opponent's rhythm and build up a new one herself. In this, if she ever managed to succeed, her opponent would lose the initiative. Speaking mechanically, her ability didn't lose to any pro player. Xiao Shiqin had thought he managed to fully understand Tang Roo's style, but who would have thought that in the match against Tang Roo, his rhythm had still been destroyed by her. That unreasonable and extremely offensive play style displayed a persistence that Xiao Shiqin had not expected at all. It was a good thing that he wasn't some random player, but a veteran. After having his rhythm destroyed by Tang Roo, the one who built a new one up wasn't Tang Roo, but himself. With this prior experience, Xiao Shiqin had to revise his prior judgment. Did he hold back too much on his estimation of Happy's strength? If this was true for Tang Roo, who they had a lot of data on and had done a lot of research into, then could Mo Fan, who they only had one match worth of data on, be hiding some huge potential? Okay, now the match has started. Xiao Shiqin is still choosing to move strategically. As for his opponent, Team Happy's Mo Fan, has only played one match in the offline matches, or rather, the entire Challenger League. Coach Lee, did you watch that match? Pan Lin began the discussion as the match began. Of course, that match left quite a lasting impression on me. It can be seen that this participant, Mo Fan, has extreme patience, and has an accurate understanding of when to attack and when to retreat, Li Yibo said. Hey, actually, this character's name, Deception, I believe many know, belongs to the infamous scrap picker of the heavenly domain. Coach Lee, do you think his playstyle and habits were developed through his scrap picking? Pan Li asked. I think that it's very likely, Li Yibo said confidently. Patience, timing, being able to execute a full retreat, these are all very important skills a scrap picker should have. However, I think we shouldn't spend too much time on this topic, Pan Lin said. Yes, let's watch the match. Li Yibo didn't continue to speak about it either. After all, scrap picking wasn't an honorable activity. Talking about the art in scrap picking here wasn't a good idea. Both sides had decided to move strategically, moving in a roundabout method towards the center of the map. The place where the two characters should meet was currently devoid of life. As for Xiao Shiqin's life extinguisher, he had stopped a little ways away from this area. His character didn't reveal himself, but instead sent out an electron eye that drifted along the wall and over. The range view of the electron eye wasn't as wide as the characters. In the limited shot, Xiao Shiqin looked around carefully. Then suddenly, snowflakes appeared in the shot and his view turned back to normal. Electron eye's view had disappeared. As expected of an observant scrap picker, Pan Lin cried out in astonishment. Yeah, he spotted even such a tiny electron eye. What terrifying observation skills, Li Yibo agreed. And from such a distance, such a small target, his shuriken was extremely precise, Pan Lin added. This match seems to be a game of cat and mouse, but who the cat is and who the mouse is hasn't been decided just yet, Li Yibo exclaimed. Chapter 1004, Ninja and Mechanic. Oh. Life extinguisher has started to move. He had originally thought that the two players would need more time to figure out their opponent's location, but it looked like Xiao Shiqin's life extinguisher made the first clear move. Life extinguisher turned around, went into a secluded alleyway off to the side, and began advancing forward resolutely. Pan Lin saw the alley. The direction that life extinguisher was heading towards was very obvious. Pan Lin started getting excited. This direction. Life extinguisher is trying to circle around deception. Xiao Shiqin is already aware of deception's location. He found out after that electron eye. Just what did he see? The broadcast immediately replayed the scene from the electron eye. Everyone's eyes went wide, but up until it was destroyed, no one saw anything eye-catching. How did Xiao Shiqin do it? Coach Li, Pan Lin asked. When Li Yibo watched the replay, he had watched even more seriously than anyone else, because he knew that if Pan Lin couldn't figure it out, the problem would be thrown his way. That was his responsibility as a consultant, but this time, Li Yibo really didn't find anything from this replay. When Pan Lin asked this question, Li Yibo grunted as if he were about to reply, but then he suddenly said, wait, let's take a look at Mo Fan's deception first. Mo Fan's deception suddenly started moving. He had been crouching down on the corner of a rooftop. At this moment, he drew back from the corner, but he didn't get up. He simply climbed in this way onto another rooftop. Does Mo Fan know Xiao Shiqin's life extinguisher is moving towards him? Pan Lin cried out in a surprise. Deception's movements were like a praying mantis hunting its prey. From the omniscient view, the viewers watching could see the movements of the two characters and didn't dare to breathe. It was as if saying something would reveal the hidden movements of the two sides, but in the stadium, Excellent Era's fans were jumping and cheering madly because if this scene continued to develop like this, Xiao Shiqin's life extinguisher would be the ambusher. This was also why the competitors were sound isolated from the outside crowd during a match. If not, a warning from a third party could affect the outcome of the match. Life extinguisher is closing in. It looks like his target is obvious. Xiao Shiqin knows that the other side is hiding on this rooftop. But the problem is, that was before. Deception is no longer at that position. Life extinguisher is still moving forward. Oh. When Xiao Shiqin's life extinguisher was about to reach his destination, he looked like he was about to send attacks towards that rooftop. Because of his class's features, life extinguisher didn't need to approach. Right when life extinguisher was fiddling around with who knew what mechanical tools, deception activated the disappearing body technique and slowly climbed down noiselessly from the rooftop behind life extinguisher. Cutthroat. Deception initiated with an assassin skill. His knife slid across life extinguisher's neck, and blood spurted out as a ray of cold light flew out. Xiao Shiqin only just noticed. Life extinguisher didn't turn his head back and immediately rolled. However, Mo Fan wasn't slow. With a broken flash, he kicked the fleeing life extinguisher up into the air. Storm Shuriken. Deception swung his hands and a storm of shurikens shot towards the airborne life extinguisher. The shurikens wove a net. Let alone in the air, it would have been difficult to dodge even while standing on flat ground. Life extinguisher was hit by multiple shurikens. During this time, deception had closed in. He swung his ninjutsu and struck life extinguisher with flame cut. Bang! At the same time deception cut life extinguisher, Xiao Shiqin had already counterattacked. Even though he was unable to dodge the cut, he was able to turn his body and fire a merciless gunshot at deception. It was only a normal attack, so the damage could be tolerated. Mo Fan seemed to ignore it. After getting shot, he leapt up and Bird fell onto life extinguisher. Boom! When Bird fall hit life extinguisher, a flame burst forth. That obviously didn't originate from Bird fall. Life extinguisher had stealthily thrown a grenade, which exploded when Bird fall hit. Life extinguisher crashed into the ground because of Bird fall, but Deception could not follow up. The shockwave from the grenade's explosion flung Deception to the side too. Beautiful, Lee Yibo shouted, the timing of that grenade was too perfect. Everyone, look. If this grenade had exploded earlier, Deception's Bird fall wouldn't have landed. The shockwave of the explosion has lower priority than Bird fall. Deception's attack would have hit life extinguisher, and Deception would have dropped to the ground along with life extinguisher. However, by having the explosion come immediately after Bird fall hit, Deception was sent flying away, unable to continue his combo. Shadow clone technique, Pan Lin suddenly roared. Deception suddenly used shadow clone technique, instantly teleporting to life extinguisher's side, but before he could attack, life extinguisher raised his arm. His punch seemed to instantly expand as it flew towards Deception. Mo Fan reacted extremely quickly. Deception stepped to the side and the rocket punch flew past him. By the time he turned back, life extinguisher had already rolled to the side. In his original location was a small gadget instead. Bang! Air compressor's unique sound effect was extremely distinct. A high-pressure air blast was released. With the distance between them, Deception had no way of avoiding it and was instantly sent flying into a wall. Life extinguisher half-squatted on the ground. His hands never stopped to rest. Mechanical seeker, air drop, predator, cruiser. All sorts of offensive mechanic gadgets barraged Deception. At the same time, under the effects of an amplifier, all damage from his skills was instantly doubled. Boom 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 boom. All sorts of noise erupted. Deception had only just crashed into the wall, and in the next second, he was covered by fire and light. Apart from gasping at Xiao Shikin's combo, nothing else could be said. He had clearly been the one ambushed, but a short moment later, he was the one dealing more damage to the ambusher. What could be done? This was a game after all. If this was real life, Deception slitting his throat would have been enough to instantly kill him, but in the game, life was a calculable statistic. A sneak attack would only let you seize the initiative. It wouldn't let you win with a single strike. Excellent Era's fans had been worried for Xiao Shikin the previous minute. Now, they were cheering again. The ones closest to Happy continued to shout. Did you see that? That's true skill. Skill. Fucking scrap picker, go pick up trash. Just when the crowd was riled up, life extinguisher stopped attacking. The numerous bright lights receded. In the hole blasted apart by this fierce wave of attacks, there was no Deception to be seen. The only thing that lay in the hole was a charred scarecrow. Ninjutsu, body replacement technique. Body replacement technique and shadow clone technique were similar, but because the substitute was a scarecrow, it was easy to distinguish it from the real body. It was mostly used as an escape tool. However, in the pro scene, there was no such thing as an absolute escape. A winner had to be decided in a match. Body replacement technique was often used like shadow clone technique in this case. It was the sign of a sneak attack or a counterattack. As soon as Xiao Shikin realized something wasn't right, he immediately stopped attacking. Where did Deception's real body go? Life extinguisher spun around in a circle, but he didn't see any signs of Deception. The teleportation range of body replacement technique wasn't very large. Deception should be within his line of sight, but he wasn't. That could only mean one possibility. The earth beneath life extinguisher suddenly started rumbling. A blade leapt up out of the ground. However, Xiao Shikin already knew what was coming. When the effect of underground tunneling technique was cancelled, life extinguisher had used rotor wings to fly up into the air. Underground tunneling technique missed. Life extinguisher immediately threw a grenade as a congratulatory gift. Deception hastily dodged and threw several shurikens at life extinguisher, but as the number one mechanic, how could Xiao Shikin's control over rotor wings be questioned? Life extinguisher weaved around in the air, dodging all of Deception's shurikens. Mo Fan saw that he couldn't get anything more and began retreating, but with the other side looking down from above, it wouldn't be easy to run. He could only use a skill, ninjutsu, smoke bomb. Thick purple smoke pervaded the area. The user of the skill would not be affected by the effects. Mo Fan had his deception turn around and run. However, Xiao Shiken immediately had his life extinguisher fly lower to the ground. The air flow induced by the rotating rotor wings dispersed the thick smoke. Not long afterwards, deception was uncovered. Mo Fan saw that quietly slipping away was impossible. He quickly formed a hand seal. While the cover from the smoke bomb had yet to be completely blown away, he activated Shadow Dance. Upon seeing this, Xiao Shiken had life extinguisher throw down an electromagnetic coil and then used a rocket propeller. Despite having the absolute speed advantage, he didn't retreat. Instead, he continued to throw down all sorts of tools in preparation to face Shadow Dance directly. Mo Fan didn't mind. His goal was still to retreat. Shadow Dance was merely a distraction. Seeing that life extinguisher's attention had been attracted, his real body immediately ran outside of the range of Shadow Dance's heart, causing the numerous shadow clones to disappear, but then several rising winter melons hovered over his head and exploded. The skills Wanonly used to contest Shadow Dance weren't wasted. They actually headed straight for deception. Chapter 1005. Missing the crucial opportunity. No wonder Xiao Shiken is one of the master tacticians of glory. His ability to switch targets is very quick and fluid. All sorts of gadgets are rushing towards deception again, while life extinguisher is not in a hurry to head over. He's just like a general devising a plan. Being such an excellent master tactician, wouldn't he be even more outstanding if he were a summoner? Coach Li, Pan Lin said. Haha, I know what you mean, but I believe a pro player with qualities like Xiao Shiken would be able to produce great results no matter what class he picked. Li Yibo's answer was fairly evasive, so Pan Lin promptly gave a laugh as he caught on. Haha, that's very true. Deception is now trapped by life extinguisher's attacks. Does he have any method to escape? The body replacement technique is currently on cooldown. Oh, there's the shadow clone technique. Deception used shadow clone technique. Ah, it's unfortunate. The shadow clone technique didn't allow to let him escape from life extinguisher's attacks, Pan Lin said. It seems like Xiao Shiken was ready for all these methods and enlarged the effective area of his attacks. He should be starting to shrink it now, Li Yibo said. As expected, the attacks are focusing in on the true deception. If deception's current body is the substitute, while the substitute is the real him, wouldn't this be an opportunity? Pan Lin cried out after finishing his sentence because the deception that was surrounded by attacks was instantly destroyed. It was impossible for any character to be so weak. Evidently, his theory had been correct. Deception actually used a clone to pretend to escape. This was done so he could lure Xiao Shiken away. His real body would only start to take action when he got into attack range. Haha, Mo Fan actually did it, but the results don't seem to be too good, Li Yibo said. True. Xiao Shiken's target switching is truly too fluid and too beautiful, Pan Lin gasped in admiration. In reality, this was because Xiao Shiken's reactions were a lot quicker than the commentators. When Pan Lin was still talking about his theory, Life Extinguisher had already started to adjust his attacks. When Pan Lin cried out, the attacks were already heading towards Deception's real body. The clone was simply taken down in passing as it was still within range. Deception continued to suffer under Life Extinguisher's continuous attacks. All kinds of gadgets emerged non-stop, ones flying from the sky, ones scurrying along the ground, and even ones coming out from underground. Deception was dodging and running, but he couldn't even find any opportunities to escape, let alone retaliating. The broadcast gave a close-up shot of Deception's body replacement technique cooldown. Under the current circumstances, apart from waiting for the rescue skill to come off cooldown, there seemed to be no way out. Everyone looked at the stopwatch and counted quietly in their heads. 3, 2, 1. The clock flashed, and the body replacement technique went off cooldown. Deception's hands started to form the hand signs. The action was so quick that it seemed like a blur for everyone else. His silhouette shook. After the fog scattered, all that was left behind was a straw dummy. At the same time, Life Extinguisher's focused attacks started to expand and increased in range. Deception's straw dummy didn't attract any firepower. On the contrary, his real body started to receive attacks the moment it reappeared. Although the attacks were weaker than before, there were only 1 or 2 seconds of peace before the attacks focused on him again. The lonely straw dummy was left in its original spot all by itself, and none of the attacks bothered to strike it. Xiao Shiken was vigilant about this and calculated the opponent's cooldown time. This is one of the biggest differences between a pro player and a normal player, Lee Yibo sighed at once. Even though he had waited for the life-saving skill for so long, it didn't manage to save him in the end. Even though there was only one opponent, Mo Fan felt as if he were surrounded by tens of thousands of troops. No, it was even more serious than that. When he was scrap-picking, although he was actually surrounded by many, they might not necessarily attack him. The scrap-picking areas tended to be areas of conflict, so the players were too busy clawing at each other's necks. As a result, they didn't tend to scrap pickers as much. However, there was only one opponent, so the focus of Xiao Shikan's attacks was extremely obvious. Mo Fan tried to control deception to break out using whatever methods he could think of, but none of them worked. It only took a single person to create such an impenetrable net. It has been a long time since Mo Fan had felt so nervous. No one was born an expert. Mo Fan had been a noob before too. At the time, he was constantly put in dangerous situations where he was isolated and surrounded by enemies. Slips happened quite a few times. However, as he continued to improve, he could do as he liked in chaotic battlefields. Even if there were occasional slip-ups, there were a lot of reasons for it. At least, he had never felt so nervous or felt a sense of crisis again. Despite having only one opponent attacking him, Mo Fan felt as if the pressure of being surrounded by danger during his days as a noob had returned. He wanted to leave, but there was no way out. Was this the end? Amidst all kinds of explosions, Life Extinguisher's silhouette was faintly discernible, and his whereabouts were still rather ambiguous. If he couldn't escape, what about attacking him? When the thought popped up in his head, the silhouette appeared among the lights once again. Mo Fan subconsciously controlled deception to throw a shuriken from his hand. Xiao Shikan was cautiously controlling his skills. He had witnessed Mo Fan's excellent escaping techniques. Mo Fan could find opportunities at the slightest opening. However, he obviously lacked experience in high-level matches. If he didn't use the body replacement technique right away, and left it available to use, it would have made things much harder for Xiao Shikan. If a skill was used and it failed, it would be useless, but if it stayed unused, it would always stay a threat. The opponent would have one more option to be wary of. Unfortunately, he used it immediately. Next, the cooldown for Shadow Clone technique was almost up. What would he do? While Xiao Shikan was thinking about this matter, something flashed on his screen. As a veteran, he didn't attempt to work out what it was, and controlled Life Extinguisher to dodge aside. When he spun his view to see what it had been, he saw that it was a shuriken. Not good. Xiao Shikan's heart tightened. This dodge resulted in a small pause in his attacks. If this was a normal opponent, they might not be able to grab this chance, but this guy was an escape artist. Would he let go of such an opportunity that he had created? Xiao Shikan hastily attempted to correct it, but as he expected, dodging the unexpected attack caused a tiny mishap in his rhythm. Mo Fan was able to grab onto this moment, and Deception's silhouette rushed out of the fires of battle in the blink of an eye. Sigh. It looks like I'll have to put in a lot of effort again, Xiao Shikan thought, but he didn't expect that Deception didn't leave after rushing out of his barrage. Deception flicked his hands and several more shurikens flew out. Deception himself also followed closely behind. He wants to attack. Xiao Shikan realized that Mo Fan wasn't planning to escape. After looking at the skills he had available, he realized that majority of them had been thrown out already. Deception had left them in the dust. A skill that was used was equal to nothing. Xiao Shikan was thinking about it just moments before, but he was now put in a similar situation. Flame cut. Deception slashed down with a flame cut from behind the shurikens. Life Extinguisher jumped aside, and activated the rotor wings to start to move. However, before he could move another step, Deception instantly dashed in front of him. Shadow Clone technique. Mo Fan used it to block Xiao Shikan's path. When he appeared, an attack was launched by a series of quick hand signs. He didn't give Xiao Shikan any opportunity to guess which was the real character. Ninja technique, 100 streams. Several streams of water shot towards Life Extinguisher like arrows. Life Extinguisher dodged, but this was exactly what Deception had anticipated. Deception jumped and stomped on Life Extinguisher's shoulders with a bird fall. The moment he pushed down, he swung out the rope's end on his ninjutsu. He was able to accurately loop it around Life Extinguisher's neck with a body bind technique and threw him into the ground ruthlessly. He caught him. Deception caught Life Extinguisher. Xiao Shiken is unable to get away this time. Quote, the commentator, Pan Lin, cried out. The stadium bubbled with excitement. Deception was completely suppressed just moments before, and he was able to suddenly strike back. Audiences loved these quick changes in pace the most. Of course, this wouldn't include excellent Era's fans, as the current situation had shut their mouths. They nervously watched Xiao Shiken's performance, while they accumulated repelling energy. Mo Fan's wave of attacks is splendid, and the way he grabbed that opportunity was quite exciting. With such a counterattack, the situation should, What? Li Yibo was just commenting on Mo Fan's performance, and was about to give new anticipation towards this match. However, Xiao Shiken's Life Extinguisher was able to break out within the time it took him to speak. Oh no, Mo Fan made a mistake. How could he let Xiao Shiken break out so easily after spending all the effort to retaliate? Pan Lin sighed. Flying Cicada Double Sting. Pan Lin suddenly raised his voice. His shout clearly contained anticipation. Unfortunately, all hope was lost in his continuing sentence. The Flying Cicada Double Sting missed. It's too late. If it had been activated just a little bit earlier, it would have been better. Indeed, there seems to be some minor problems in Mo Fan's linking of his attacks. When fighting against opponents like Xiao Shiken, even the slightest mistake will be punished. Li Yibo sighed. Mo Fan is still controlling deception to keep attacking, but the chances are slim. Xiao Shiken has already readjusted. He's just waiting for his skills to come off cooldown. It's begun. He sent a predator out, followed by an airdrop. Mechanical Seeker is blocking the way. Deception has no way of breaking out. He's facing an encirclement once again. Sigh, what a pity. Li Yibo shook his head continuously.